Happy Thursday, everybody. This is your girl CWall checking in for your weekly Coaching from the Couch session. Whew. Exhale. Wow. D'Angelo, what's up, my brother? You see me doing, wow. Wow. My sister Joy, everybody say what's up to her. She moderates and facilitates the chat. What a week. What a week in sports. This, I'm going to give you all a moment to make sure that your DMV sports loving family and friends tunes in, because you're going to be sharing the show with them. I hope. But let me tell you all, this week isn't just about DMV sports. Of course, we're going to loop that in. I see one of my absolute favorite DC sports fans, Cameron Mingo, my brother in sports, is already shouted out Black Lives Matter. Absolutely, Black Lives Matter. Say it again, Black Lives Matter. One of my girlfriends made the shirt that I'm wearing, Impress Culture. One of my close friends, Sabrina Fields, and if you watch the show weekly, or even if not, you may have seen me wear this shirt before. And I'm wearing it again, and you're going to probably see it again. And I thought it was so appropriate for this week. But while this is, of course, a DC sports show, we're going to be talking about some national issues on tonight's show. And we're talking about Washington football. So I'm all ready to jump in. Are y'all ready to jump in? Listen, while you're still getting ready to jump in, because it's going to be a ride. Trust me, it's going to be a ride, and I still want you to get an opportunity to make sure that you are getting your DC sports loving family and friends in on this discussion. Absolutely. You want to get in on this discussion. Before we get started, I want to make sure we always have to shout out the Goodwill Gestures Initiative. It is an initiative that I'm doing with some outstanding folks in the DMV. My girl Misha Colbert, Calvin Henry, also known as Killer Cal of the Rare Essence Band, as well as my great man, LB Lawrence Bullard of Team Bullard Academy. Listen, we are still donating and blessing families financially. If you know of a family who is in need of some support, we are still distributing small donations. If you know of a family that is still in need of a support, who has been negatively impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, please inbox me or contact the Goodwill Gestures page. Please, 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 please. Because we are still blessing families. So I gotta plug that, absolutely. So, all right. Are y'all ready? Let's go ahead and do it. While I'm talking through this, I want you all to be commenting so I can see your feedback on the happenings this week across sports. You let me know just your initial reactions on everything going on in sports. By now, because it is Thursday, you all should be aware of the shooting of Jacob Blake on Sunday in a city outside of Wisconsin. He was shot 7 times by police. And another black man shooting by police. A lot of frustration. I know on this show, we came together in a virtual way, giving out virtual hugs, and God bless you as well, Jeffrey, to truly talk about the systemic racism and social injustice across this country. We saw another instance of this just this past Sunday. And I don't know about what you all think, but Tina, I didn't hear a lot of feedback this go round. As much feedback as I heard about George Floyd. Now, George Floyd was murdered, and his murder was videotaped. But I do believe that, some of the initial concerns about starting sports back up was one of the reasons why folks were like, no, don't bring sports back, because if you bring sports back, then we'll step away from the issues, and we'll step away from the challenges in the conversations that need to be had. So I got a feeling, and got to say what's up to my brother Randall, that some of what some athletes were concerned about was in fact happening, because there wasn't, in my opinion, and from what I saw, a lot of media attention, and not as much to what happened to Jacob on Sunday, right? So I don't know about you all. And don't forget, I need your comments. Let me know how you're feeling about everything that's gone down in sports this week. I'm getting ready for the playoffs, just like everybody else. You're watching, you're sitting there, okay. I don't know what you all were seeing, but I immediately picked up on it. I said, the Bucks not up there yet. I just kept working. Then I saw the Orlando Magic walking on off the court. Then it is announced that the Milwaukee Bucks had decided to not take the floor for Game 5 of the Orlando Magic Milwaukee Bucks series. They were protesting. This was their way of protesting. They want justice. They want justice for Breonna Taylor. They want justice for Jacob Blake. They want justice for every black person that has been, unarmed black person that has been murdered by police. They want justice. Murdered or shot, because Jacob Blake is still with us. He's paralyzed, but he is still with us. The Bucks said, we not going out there. I'm going to be honest with y'all. And Cameron, I wholeheartedly hear you, my brother, in that you're terrified in the way America is acting right now. But in that moment, and then knowing that the Bucks were protesting and they were not coming out to play, I said, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. They're really not going to play? I lost it, y'all. In a good way, in a positive way. I could not believe that in a playoff game, this team came together and said, you know what? We're not going out there. Like CWall had a tweet. We're not here to shut up and dribble. I'm like, wow. Whoa. Then we starting with yesterday. So then we see the other games are now canceled. Then we see the Milwaukee Brewers decide to cancel their game. Okay, somebody got them on the main line. They got a mean text message chain going. And they like, we not playing either. Across sports leagues now, these athletes have bonded together. They have come together. Said we're not going to play. Now what? Because see, let's be honest and let's be real about these athletes who are saying it's a lot of money in sports. So if you are an advertiser, a sponsor, or a partner, you are paying top dollar for your commercials to be ran during these games. You know, your logo to be shown out on the court, out on the field. You are, oh, we not playing. Let's see how this hits y'all pockets tonight. I was so elated. And I have a bunch of tweets and information that I want to share about this. Several, baseball games, as Tina mentioned, now the NHL has postponed their games for tonight, because NHL players, of color was saying, all right, everybody else doing it, we need to do something too. How we gonna get left out of here? We need to take a stand too. Like Joy said, it's time for the stand. And the stand happened. One of the stands is also happening with the WNBA, because the NBA and WNBA are ran pretty much by the same people. Pretty much. And good evening to everybody that's joining us. So the Mystics were slated to play. I already knew what was up. I said, oh, NBA not playing? Them sisters not going out there, because they're going to stand in solidarity with their brothers. They're going to do that. That's how they look out for each other. And they're also going to stand in solidarity about this huge issue. I don't know if you've all seen it, but Ariel Atkins from the Washington Mystics, awesome person, awesome player, had such a moving statement that has trended all over social media. And I want to take a minute to read an excerpt of that. And like Randall said, because Randall is here representing Atlanta 85 South, shout out to the Atlanta United. Absolutely. Shout out to them. Ariel says, and this is just a snippet, y'all, we're not just basketball players. And if you think we are, then don't watch us. We're so much more than that. And we're going to say what we need to say. And people need to hear that. If they don't support that, I'm fine with that. These moments are so much bigger than us. If we do this unified as a league, it looks different. We matter. I think that's important. I'm tired of telling people that. I know I matter. We know we matter. If you have a problem with me saying Black Lives Matter, you need to check your privilege. Yes, all lives matter, including the Black lives we're talking about. Since then, we know the WNBA has postponed their games tonight. We know that the NBA is not playing tonight. But since, and we know the reports coming out of Orlando that emotions are raw. It's tense. It's a lot going on in that bubble. Folks are away from their families. We have to remember that. They're away from their families. So that's stressful in itself. But with everything that's going on, they said, you know what? We need to take a stand, and I promise you this, we not playing. We're not here for your entertainment. This is our job. We're not here to make you happy. We need to stand. We're unhappy. Something tangible needs to be done. I was very proud yesterday. Extremely proud. And, it was a comment made to me, about the protesting by the players being cute. And I'll be honest with y'all. I got offended by that comment. I was very offended by that comment. And here's why. It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in. It takes courage to do something that not everybody else is doing. That's the playoffs. And you're not going out there? Oh, you ain't gonna show up? Oh, really? While the cameras are rolling? Yeah, we're not. And guess what else that I was very impressed with the Bucks? No, they did not tell their owner. No. Now, the owner, of course, made a statement saying that they wholeheartedly support what happened. And that's awesome. But the fact that they made a move as players, so often we say, oh, the owner's not going to allow this, the owner's not going to allow that. But what you going to do if you do it? What's going to happen if you do it? Seriously. We just saw the Milwaukee Bucks do it. Now, we do know, based on reports coming out of Orlando, out of the bubble, that now some teams were a little ticked off. Hey, the Bucks didn't tell nobody they were going to make that move. That move impacts all of us until some of the players stood up and said, hey, listen, the Bucks don't owe y'all an explanation. They standing up for what they believe in. We got to come together on this. Our message is getting lost. And I'm here to ask, and I want you all's opinion seriously. Let's talk about this. Let's brainstorm on this while we're all together. Because now the players are like, all right, we can get the playoffs going back. And the playoffs may start back up as soon as this weekend. But there's still more conversations that need to be had with the owners, because it's already being shared out of the bubble that key players like LeBron, who has the ability to, when he speaks, people listen. Wanting to see owners own more of this topic, wanting them to be held accountable. Can they still do that? Now, let me tell you something. All the messaging has been awesome out of the bubble. From the slogans on the back of jerseys, between having Black Lives Matter all over the court. If you've watched post-game interviews, when media is asking questions, the players are responding with, hey, the cops that killed Breonna Taylor are still not arrested. And that is where our focus needs to be. So they are making their voices heard, and they're doing it in a very strategic way. But once this happened again on Sunday, not too far from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I said, we ain't going out there. Now what? Because people are frustrated. They're frustrated. They're tired. You know how much money is made over them playing across all sports? A lot of it. And a lot of money gets lost too, because, hey, listen, sports betting is big now. I don't know if anybody watching is into sports betting, but gambling is huge too. We all know that. So now I'm looking, because I'll be honest, I said, oh, they going back to play? Okay. I kind of wanted them to sit this one out. I kind of wanted them to say, oh, no, you know what? To start holding people truly accountable in such a way that the output is true accountability and changed behavior. So I am now anxious to see and really watch and sit back and say, what actions are they going to strategize? Now I want to see what truly comes out of this. If they continue on and the players they want to resume, because I know we all heard it, the Lakers and the Clippers, when they first did an initial kind of, testing the waters, a vote, or what people want to do, the Lakers and the Clippers, they walked out. Now the reports are the players have decided to resume, but now we can resume, but then what is the action? What is the plan going forward? How will policymakers be held accountable? Sports has a lot of weight. Sport has a lot of influence. We saw that yesterday. And I'm talking about across sports. I was so proud of just the courage. And like I was sharing on social media last night, the transformative way. What a way to honor John Lewis, by starting some good trouble. I was like, oh, Lord, I was going crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this is happening. Oh, I was like, Lord, please, is this real? Is this real? Are they really doing this on a Wednesday? They just going, we're not doing this. That's good trouble. That is a prime example of good trouble. To the point where it even made me ask myself, how you gonna start some good trouble? Come on through here, CWall. What you gonna do to start some good trouble? So what's next? Even for me. That's not even for them. That's a for me question. That's a for all of us question. What can we do and continue to do every day in our lives to start some good trouble and hold the policymakers accountable? Because that's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. And shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks for starting a trend of transformative change. When you can potentially impact the behavior of others, that is leadership. That is a key attribute of leadership. When you can do something and then make others follow your lead. Good trouble. I don't know. It remains to be seen, and we're going to keep watching. We're going to keep watching, and we're going to keep pressing forward. Like Joyce said, this is just the start. There's no one, including myself, and I hope no one else did either, expected something to happen today, right? Because this is a start. But the fact that they had the courage, y'all. I'm glad my two eyes saw that one. So glad. So glad. We'll see what happens next. We'll see what happens next. And I'm going to transition to Washington football. And it's really not Washington football, right, as a whole. It is really about majority owner of the Washington football team, Daniel Snyder. So do I have any Washington football team fans in the building? Do I have y'all in the virtual room? First of all, is this Washington football team territory? Is it safe to talk about the Washington football team up in here? Please let me know. Like, love, share, comment. Washington football team fans, where are you? Are you here? Are you still with me? Are you still with me? Now, while you all are checking in and letting me know that you're here, I also need you to check in and comment below on Daniel Snyder. What's going on with Daniel Snyder? And while you all are commenting about Daniel Snyder, I'm going to call him Daniel. I'm calling him Daniel, okay? Daniel Snyder. While I'm going to talk about him, I want you all to comment and let me know how you're doing. What's up, Jermaine? So good to see you in the virtual room. John Kahn at ESPN put out an article, I believe it was tonight. I think it was tonight, around 6 p.m. Have y'all read that article? Have y'all read what John Kahn put out? What has happened, if you haven't heard, because there's been so much going on, right? That a letter was sent to NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, lawyers representing more than a dozen former employees of the team. It requested an independent investigation into allegations of sexual harassment. On Wednesday, just yesterday, because a lot would happen yesterday, right? The Washington Post reported additional allegations of sexual harassment, which now includes majority owner Daniel Snyder. Now, we remember about a month or so ago, a Washington Post article came out in allegations of harassment from some of the former executives of the organization. Since then, just yesterday, the Washington Post has more So this is an article that has, I'm looking at my notes here because I don't want to misspeak. 25 former employees came forward for its latest report, joining the 15 others that were part of the story in the newspaper last month. So this letter that went to Roger Goodell is basically asking for Daniel Snyder to be suspended, at the least, and that he should be held accountable for his actions. We know that Ron Rivera just really stepped into a room that he had no idea he was walking in, didn't he? He really is having to deal with something that's tough. Just I couldn't imagine. So what do y'all want to see happen? That's what I want to ask y'all. What do you want to see happen? And while you all are commenting about what you all want to see happen, let me tell you all this. I don't know how Daniel Snyder gets out of this still being the majority owner of the Washington football team. I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. Because see, here's the thing. And we've said this when we've talked about this before. We talked about this when the first article came out. Here's the thing. It's time to be accountable for the years of mistreatment of your employees. When everything is going haywire in the organization, guess what? The leader always has to be the one that is held accountable. The leader has to be held accountable. You got to work things out, yeah, but this was behavior that lingered and went on for years. Now there are newer reports being shared from additional former employees and said, oh yeah, remember y'all said, Daniel Snyder said he didn't know nothing about it? Newsflash, yes he did. He knew all about it. Let me ask y'all this too, because this has been on my mind for a while, right? And we only got a couple more minutes together. So I really want to hear this from you all. Can true organizational change happen when the root of the problem still exists? The root of the issue is still there. So can you truly go on this path of transform? I mean, I'm going to keep using the word transformative. Transformative change, an entire new era. You starting, you rebuilding, all of these things. Can you do it when the root of your previous issues, be it business or be it football, is still in the building? I will continue to say and tell you all, one of the largest stories that is not being talked about publicly is the minority owners wanting out. The minority owners trying to find somebody, please buy my piece of this team. I don't want it. The minority owners trying to convince Dan to sell. That is the biggest story that ain't nobody saying nothing about. It's awfully quiet out there, isn't it, you guys? I thought it was just me. Like, ain't nobody talking about this, but we know about it. So why is nobody talking about this? This is very important. This is a big deal. More reports come out. Now letters being sent to Roger Goodell asking whatever comes out of this investigation, at the least you got to suspend them. Will Dan step down? It's another question I have. Will he step down? Will he? Willie said, you know what? Because I know it's gotta, I'm just trying to be as objective as possible with this. It has to be difficult because we have to remember that Daniel is a fan. He's a fan, right? But when you, I mean, he can still be a fan and not be the majority owner. He really still can, you know? But it's, I don't know if Pride is going to win this one. Because I'm with you, Chief of DC. I don't think he's going to willingly step down either. Pride won't let him. He's going to go down with this one. I think he's going to say, you know what? You're going to have to get me red-handed on the tape for me to just step down. So will the league then step in? Because if you've noticed, and I want to bring light to this before we sign off, J.P. Finlay, NBC Sports Washington, J.P. Finlay shared that it's important to note that, yes, there is an internal PR team over there in Ashburn. Every NFL team has an internal PR team. But during this investigation, there's also been an outside PR team that is handling many of the PR tasks. So if there's an outside organization handling some of this while there's an internal team, that lets us know that the league has some input on business operations and what's going on over there during this investigation. Because I promise you this, when an organization is under investigation, there's no way it's just business as usual over there. You're going to be watched. We're going to oversee your practices. We're going to try to right this ship without you damaging the name of the NFL. Keep in mind, one bad apple spoils the bunch. So how will the other owners then hold Daniel accountable? There is so much more to be seen in this saga. So much more to be seen, you all. But what I will shout out the Washington football team. As you all know, they were slated to have scrimmage today at FedEx Field. That was canceled so that they can address social justice issues and challenges. We have already seen team president Jason Wright step up, make statements. When have we ever had a team president that actually doesn't mind sharing out loud, this situation pains us? The change starts now. We move forward from here. Did Bruce ever do that? No. Let me answer the question for you. You don't even have to comment on that one. No. So things are progressing. Things are changing. But can you get true transformative change when the root of your past problems is still in the building? There we have it. Another week. Another week, y'all. We made it. Another week. Another Thursday. You guys, listen, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You know, this is the highlight of my week. I love hanging out with y'all and you all hanging out with me. As Joy says, shout out to all of our essential workers. You all are heroes. Just keep being safe out there. Yes, please wash your hands. Wear your mask, all of the above. Thank you so much, you guys, and I will see you all next week.